Already, we're recording. What's up, everybody? Me and Kolby film session are talking about the Broncos today. Toxic fans. He's getting death threats, all this stuff, which is embarrassing to the Broncos fan base. What do you guys say?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on. I've followed your work for a long time. I like what you're doing. I like that you called out Mile High Bubble. I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to go on your platform, most importantly, because I don't really get a lot of likeness around Denver Broncos country because of my difference of opinion and my film sessions that I do quite frequently. And I just posted one today on my channel, Jeffrey Simmons versus Draymond Jones. I encourage everyone to go check out those film sessions. They're not highlight reels. I'm not cherry picking good plays. They're real film reviews, and I encourage everyone who wants to go and get the all 22 on NFL Game Pass. I encourage everyone to do it because taking away what these Denver Bronco media people, they channels that spew the same shit. Don't listen to what they have to say because it's coming out of what Dove Valley's saying, and John always still controls the narrative.
Yeah, so go over there and check out his channel. He does some good work. He posts a lot of films. He speaks the truth about certain players like Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Simmons, Draymond Jones. The list goes on and on, frankly. So many John Elway players that just get stuck on his tit, like you said.
Yeah, that was a reference that my Bronco partner at Denver Broncos Mile High View basically said. So I took that from him. So if he'll be watching this, and got to acknowledge him for the work he did. Honestly, where I'm at right now, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for him at Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials, no bullshit. Like I said, my partner and I get a lot of scrutiny for what we put out, and it's not because we hate the Denver Broncos. We're just very critical of the Denver Broncos. If the Denver Broncos put a team together that actually made sense and didn't do this hyped up feel good bullshit for the past 7 years, all the empty promises, we would our tune would be different than what people make us out to be. We want the Denver Broncos to be good, but we're not going to sit here and blow sunshine and rainbows up anybody's ass. I mean, that's not who we are. We're no bullshit channels, and that's why, Kolby, we respect what you guys do. You, Mile High 6, I've been watching you guys even before I started YouTube. I just started YouTube this past year, and then I started 2 years ago with my partner in crime. But we really respect what you do. We appreciate, actually some honesty from Denver Bronco fans now, because we don't really have a plethora of that anymore.
Yeah, like you said, like these 7 or 8 channels that say the same shit every time, man. It's fucking ridiculous. They get paid by Dove Valley to spew bullshit.
So what are your expectations for the Broncos? You think it's going to be the same old wash, rinse, repeat bullshit, or the Denver the quarterback that's going to wave a wand because he's the most important position on the field? What do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to get Russell Wilson killed just like Bridgewater and all the other quarterbacks before him?
Honestly, like I really can see it, because like they didn't improve the offensive line hardly at all. Like besides flipping right tackle, like they don't address center. Like we do need a center, but they all know they don't want to address center because they want to give Cushenberry another year when she sucks. The guy gets pushed back constantly. I mean, Garrett Bowles, like he regressed last year, and you just gave him an extension, and he sucks. I don't know. Russell Wilson, he might be running for his life, and I feel bad for him if that happens.
What is your expectations for, we're told each and every year that Draymond Jones and Justin Simmons are going to take these big leaps that sports talk radio likes to shell out. I know ever since I started doing the Justin Simmons, Draymond Jones stuff, it's been like full on attack on my end. What is your a lot of people misconstrue what I say. Do I think Draymond Jones and Justin Simmons suck? Yes. I have no confidence whatsoever in what I see on the film and what I've seen over the past 3 years from those two. That gives me a full belief going in year 4 with these guys on the Denver Broncos that will give me the optimism that they're going to have a breakout year. I mean, I've been doing film review and they're saying I'm cherry picking film review. How the hell am I cherry picking film review? I mean, do people don't understand how hard film is? They don't understand. It takes hours upon hours of editing and also talking about certain technique angles that these players do. Now, from your perspective, from what you've seen from the games, and if you ever checked out film or whatever you do from your end, is there a sense of John Elway favoritism over guys like a Kenny Young, a Bryce Callahan, guys like that produce on a high level, but they get run out of town for bad players like a Draymond Jones and a Justin Simmons?
Yeah, there's a couple of players like you said, Callahan got ran off the Chargers. Kenny Young got ran off to the Raiders, and you bring in Alex Singleton, who's way worse. And the guy can't cover. We haven't had a good cover linebacker in a while. But no, they don't care about the middle. They don't care. It's just good enough, right? Like Yoli Jewell and Singleton is good enough.
Well, in today's NFL, they're not good enough. They're not coverage linebackers. Alex Singleton, yeah, he's a fast linebacker, but he doesn't have the coverage prowess as you need, like with Isaiah Simmons and Deion Brown or Roquan Smith and Eric Kendricks. Guys like that can neutralize the middle of the field. Now, you were talking about Melvin Gordon because my partner in crime at Denver Broncos Mile High View was a big advocate of not bringing him in and giving him all that money. We ran Philip Lindsay out of town for this guy. So what is your feelings on Melvin Gordon?
Oh, I didn't want to re-sign him. I feel like we could have got a better running back in the draft or sign a better backup to Javonte Williams. But no, I think John Elway was like, we got to bring him back. George, we got to bring him back. It's like he threatened him to bring him back. For $5 million, he fumbles. Like, it's a waste. You could have signed a better defensive lineman or offensive lineman with $5 million.
Yes, you were mentioning a guy that I've been clamoring for this whole free agency who's still out there, and Eddie Goldman. I've talked about him, but what are your thoughts on Eddie Goldman?
Yeah, I feel like he can be a much improvement to the defensive line. Like right now, like Mike Purcell, he's not cutting it. He gets hurt a lot, and he's getting up there in age too. So I really think that you could release Mike Purcell and then sign Eddie Goldman to a 1-year deal or approve it your 1-year deal, and it would be a much improvement. We already got DJ Jones and Eddie Goldman. I mean, right now DJ Jones is next to 2 bums, really.
I completely agree with you. Draymond Jones, Mike Purcell is past his prime. I've been saying to get rid of him for a year now. Now, when it comes to Nathaniel Hackett, my partner and I did a video yesterday about Nathaniel Hackett and how positive he is all the time. To me, I think he's a souped-up version of Vance Joseph. I've been saying ever since we got him that he didn't call the plays in Green Bay. He didn't call the plays. He was basically the quarterback's coach, and everybody's thinking just because he was with Matt LaFleur that he could bring that Matt LaFleur influence. To me personally, I think I want to get your thoughts on this. My partner and I both agree that they're going to do the typical John Elway, Pat Shurmur thing where they're going to abandon the run, they're going to abandon what works, and they're going to throw 20-plus yards to these receivers that, quite frankly, outside of Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton, to me, really didn't deserve that contract. If you were going to do a contract extension, I would say, yeah, okay, maybe you give the money towards Cortland Sutton because he's younger and he's more – I would say he's a lot more younger than Tim Patrick. But, again, I didn't think that we needed to pay a combined $91 million to 2 receivers that haven't really done anything. and that outside the bubble people don't really know about. I'm not really a big fan of Jerry Jeudy. I wanted Tristan Wirfs in that draft, not Jerry Jeudy. I didn't think Jerry Jeudy was that high of a receiver to draft at 15. But what are your thoughts on Nathaniel Hackett? What could possibly happen with this offense? Because they're saying in OTAs that this is going to be the best offense we've seen in 5 years, which I disagree with that full-heartedly. But what are your thoughts about what could possibly happen on that side of the ball this season?
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, he's always happy. Like, the guy is never him. Like, he always says positive things. Like, it's like these fans are like, it's like these the beat writers, like they always like say positive things. Like, they never say anything about, like, I saw Russell Wilson throw an interception, but they didn't say anything about it hardly. Like, they just love like talking about the positive only, you know? Like, oh no, Justin Simmons got beat in practice, but they didn't say it at all. All they do is say the positives. Like, they don't ever mention the negatives. And to the offense, I could definitely see it being just like Shermer's. It could be just like Shermer's. He didn't call the plays in Green Bay, like you said, Matt LaFleur did. And I think when he did call plays in Jacksonville, like, the offense wasn't that good. I mean, the 2017 year, they went to the AFC Championship, but other than that, like, the Jacksonville offense didn't do much with Blake Bortles.
Well, I think what you're talking about, that 2017 Jaguars team, I think that had more to do with their defense and their offensive line more than what they were actually saying, from what we're hearing from Sports Talk Radio in Dove Valley, saying that, oh, Nathaniel Hackett's this offensive genius. I would kind of disagree on that because, like you said, when he was in Jacksonville, I think that had more to do with the offensive line and defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, that defense in 2017 for the Jaguars was really good.
And what was that team built off of? The defensive line, right? Everyone wants to talk about Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, but that defense was predicated from Malik Jackson, who we should have never got rid of, Marcel Darius, their edge rushers, coverage linebackers with Miles Jackson, Trey Smith. They had it all on that team. They had it all.
They had Calais Campbell too, right?
Yep, Calais Campbell. Yep. That you're absolutely correct. And now this defense, because I really want to talk about this with you, because I never really got to talking about this with you. You're talking about Alex Singleton, and then they have to do the unthinkable. I mean, really, is it unthinkable when you think about the Denver Broncos moving Bear Browning outside, which there's no evidence whatsoever of him playing outside in college, only for a few plays. You were talking about the middle linebacking core. I just think this defense is going to take a major step back. I think this is going to be one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, you have Patrick Surtain. Yes, he's nice. I said coming out in the draft, I would have preferred a Rashawn Slater who balled out with the Chargers. Patrick Surtain, I said he was a very good boundary corner. They were talking about moving Patrick Surtain into the slot. Now you get rid of Kenny Young and Baron Browning. You move Baron Browning outside. You get rid of Kenny Young. You bring in Singleton. You bring in Josie Jewell, who sucks in coverage. And your defensive line outside of DJ Jones, and you paid Randy Gregory all this money. Like, really, like, that's going to solve all your issues. I want your thoughts on this defense, because I think this is going to be one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, and I can't believe people are comparing this to the Super Bowl 50 team. It's funny. Like, come on, this defense is not even on the same level. Like, come on, it's ridiculous.
Well, but they're comparing this team in general is better than the 2012-2013 team. That's what I'm hearing from Sports Talk Radio and Mile High Bubble and Dove Valley and everyone. Oh my God, this is a top 5 team in the Denver Broncos. They're better than the 2012-2013 team that Peyton Manning walked into.
No, definitely not. But yeah, to this defense, I mean, like you said, the inside linebackers are trash. Like, you got 2 guys that can't cover. And how's it going to happen when Travis Kelce, Darren Waller go against us? I mean, they're just going to have a field day against us. Other tight ends.
Go ahead.
Like, we put the Ravens, right? So Mark Andrews.
Don't forget about Seattle with Noah Fant.
Oh, yeah, Noah Fant's going to get his revenge against us.
I mean, I could see him jawing it up with Justin Simmons because Justin Simmons sucks in coverage. I mean, you want like Denver Bronco people actually think Justin Simmons a top 5 safety. I show film of him actually getting destroyed over the top. Nobody wants to talk about that. It's mind-boggling to me that players get a pass like Draymond and Justin Simmons, but guys like Kenny Young that make an impact, Baron Browning that make an impact on the inside. You were talking about the 2015 team. Oh, let's get rid of Malik Jackson and pay all that money to Meadowlark Watson. And they were saying that we didn't have the money, but yet you still paid Meadowlark Watson the year in free agency. I think that's total bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, we haven't had a good right tackle in how many years?
We haven't drafted any tackle since Garrett Bowles. How did you were saying that too? We haven't drafted.
We passed on so many. We passed on so many good tackles.
You passed on Rashawn Slater. You passed on Tristan Wirfs. And those two guys are all pro players, and they're 23, 24 years old. And we got a 30-plus-year-old right tackle in Billy Turner, who you should have signed 4 or 5 years ago instead of Jawan James. And then you drafted a guy and developed one behind him. That's what you should have done. But no, you didn't. You wanted to get Jawan James because he was a name. That's Elway players, their names.
And we're still paying Jawan James money.
And Shelby Harris. All that dead cap.
Ridiculous. Oh, man. It's hilarious.
But you were calling out Mile High Bubble, and I commend you for it because you were saying I had to tell my co-partner they were talking about. You were telling me about some DK Metcalf article that they were writing.
Yeah, a couple months ago, they proposed, they had their own trade ideas for DK Metcalf to come to the Broncos.
Of course, they did.
I mean, how many receivers? That's all I talk about. Receivers. It's receivers, corners, edge rushers. I mean, that's all I talk about.
What's your thought on Randy Gregory?
I mean, he came from a 4-3, and now he's gonna be in a 3-4. What?
But I didn't hear any Denver Bronco fans or sports talk radio. They were all focused on Chandler Jones and Von Miller. They were never focused on Randy Gregory. And then we got him that's all we were talking about was Randy Gregory. Oh, great signing, A+ move for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, all I heard people talk about is bring back Von Miller and then sign Chandler Jones. That's what they kept saying. And when we signed Gregory, they're like, "Oh yeah, I wanted him the whole time." No, you didn't. You wanted fucking Chandler Jones or Von Miller.
Of course. I mean that is the toxicity that the Denver Broncos are facing. I mean, when you talk about the organizational value in the Denver Broncos, it's not what it used to be under Pat Bowlen. Like me, you, Mile High 6, shout out to him. He does great content. Everyone that actually is a true Denver Bronco fans actually looks at this team and breaks it apart. But you have Mile High Buttable, who are Colt and Cowboy beat writers, and all the above, and they have their fans come and attack me and my partner. It's ridiculous that I have to sit here and accept the fact that we have bullshit journalism now. We don't have media that holds this team accountable, like what they do for the Rockies or for the Avalanche or anything. I mean, they're trying to say that this team is like what the Avalanche are doing right now. But they didn't do what the Avalanche did to get here, to get where they're at now. They didn't draft and develop players. They didn't go after names. They went and got better. They went through the organizational restructuring. They went out and drafted great hockey players, went in free agency and trades and all that. The Denver Broncos, what they're usually doing is going after edge rushers and tight ends and receivers and corners and overpaying for safeties and defensive players that make absolutely no sense.
Yeah, even the Nuggets are made to make the playoffs more. And every team in Colorado does. I mean, the Rockies have been kind of bad, but the Avalanche and the Nuggets actually are title. They always go for the titles. They're always competing for championships.
Do those teams go after names, or do they actually go after players that make sense?
I mean, yeah, both teams.
Well, because I follow the Avalanche and Nuggets much. I mean, you're a Nuggets fan, and I don't know if you're Avalanche. I don't think you are, but you follow those things closely. Do they go after names at all, or do they draft and develop and get guys that make sense?
The Nuggets draft and develop. Their 3 superstars have been drafted.
Of course they have.
And one of them was drafted in the second round, and he was a back-to-back MVP. Jokic.
Now, what are your expectations for this new ownership group coming to Denver?
Yeah, Jokic was drafted in the second round.
What do you think Rob will bring to the Broncos? Do you think it's going to be more of like Jerry Jones, Dan Snyder, or do you think that he's going to hold Elway accountable and actually get him out of the Broncos organization?
Yeah, I really hope that he gets rid of Elway and gets rid of the yes men to Elway. You know, like there's a lot of yes men to Elway right now. And I heard you were talking about Elway has his own like big suite in the Broncos headquarters.
Yeah. My partner, I pointed it out. If you go back and watch those propaganda behind the scenes films, you'll see Russell Wilson go in, "What's up, boss?" And he has looks like he has the biggest suite in Dove Valley. And then I still have fans coming on our channel saying that he doesn't exist when he clearly exists in Dove Valley. I've had fans. I had one recently on the Jeffrey Simmons and Draymond Jones, and he's like, "Oh, Elway hasn't been GM for over a year now. Yet you go to DenverBroncos.com and it says Director of Player Operations."
Yeah, and he's on the scooter saying, "Let's ride."
If he didn't exist, why does he have one of the biggest suites or the biggest suite in Dove Valley?
It's bigger than George Payton's.
Well, George Payton is an empty suit. He's a yes man. Why every year, and you look at behind the scenes in the draft room, where's Elway? He's right there by George Payton. He's not. He didn't exist.
I thought he's just an advisor. Oh, yeah, that's what they tell us.
Yeah, and does Randy Gregory sound like a John Elway signing to you? Absolutely, because he's a name, and they paid him all. It's like similar to Juwan James type deal. Oh, but it's only 2 years, $28 million. But there's incentives that can get him up to $70 million. They don't want to talk about that.
70 million, Jesus.
5 years, $70 million for a guy that wasn't. He sucks against the run. He's strictly a pass rusher with his hand in the dirt in the 4-3. And I've been saying if you put Draymond Jones in that style, he can have success. But as an interior defensive lineman with Draymond Jones, he is not as good as people think he is. I'm sorry. There are way better players out there that you can go after in the draft. I wanted Travis Jones. I wanted Jordan Davis. But we can't have that because we got to go after, out a Nick Burrito, which makes no sense at all. Nick Burrito is a guy like Vic Beasley. I compared him coming out. I did a draft video on him. I got so much hate for that. But the one pick I got so much hate on was the Greg Dulcich pick. And me and you were talking off screen about this. Greg Dulcich, where were all of you guys talking about Greg Dulcich before we drafted him? I heard no talk about him. And now he's your favorite player in the draft?
Yeah. You didn't even need a tight end that early. And he's not even going to start. Alberto's going to start.
I haven't heard a peep from him out of OTAs and minicamp. I haven't heard a peep. Where's all this hype? Oh, next Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce, right? Yeah, get at. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand that pick one bit.
It's like this team tries to convince us every single year. Every year. It's we're just a quarterback away. I've heard that for 7 years. 7 years. You got Bridgewater. You said we're going to go to the playoffs and get Aaron Rodgers. I said draft night that when the draft night with Adam Schefter broke that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Denver, supposedly, I said that was bullshit because it had to be an agreement between the Packers and the Broncos. And then me and my partner exposed it with Mark Schlereth saying, "Oh, I got a call from somebody in the Denver Broncos organization." Who is Mark Schlereth good friends with in the Denver Broncos organization? It's Elway. So who do you think gave him that call?
John Elway.
To spew that crap. Because he was like, on 104.3 The Fan, when they were doing the draft night thing that they do every year, he's like, "Oh man, I'm getting breaking news that the Broncos are close to a deal with Aaron Rodgers."
Yeah, and everyone fell for it. I can't lie, I did too. Like back then, I was part of I used to watch Mile Huddle. I admit I used to watch them, but then I finally woke up and I realized how retarded they were.
Well, you did your own research and you saw that they are fucking bullshit artists. They're fucking con artists.
Yeah, and they were saying Russell Wilson wants $50 million when he hasn't even played it down yet. He hasn't played.
Of course they do. That's what they do. That's what they do best.
I can't. Didn't one of them say, comment your videos? Who the heck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck am I? On the Delaney Turner. Go look at it. Go to look at the Delaney Turner Yale draft video I did, and you're gonna see Chad Jensen. I knew it was him, using his backup YouTube account because it says Chad Jensen, and also he was talking about Eric Trickle, his draft scout. I knew who he was talking about. I'm like, oh, dude, you really? Your draft scout? I'm not gonna be rude. I'm gonna be nice, but my God, these people so stupid. They're stupid. They're idiots. I don't put up with it.
And they blocked you, right?
Yeah, they blocked me for life on their channel. I can't live comment, or I can't comment either.
All That's because you brought up about their lies. You brought up their other lies.
Well, let's go through them. You were talking about DK Metcalf, the 50 mil that they were saying. I said I was doing it long before that. I said they were talking about Matthew Stafford being a shoe-in for the Broncos. I said I called bullshit on that. I said that's absolutely bullshit because their video was like the betting odds say that the Matthew Stafford is a shoe-in for the Denver Broncos.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, he went to a Super Bowl caliber team in the Rams that were actually a quarterback away. They weren't, the Broncos where they're going to put the cart in front of the horse. We're going to trade all this draft capital and all these players for one player in Russell Wilson, gut our team in cap and in draft capital, and just that's what the Denver Broncos do. Yep,
I mean, yeah, you get I'm gonna miss Noah Fant. I thought he was a great player.
And and what did Elway do? He got rid of Rich Scangarello for Pat Shurmur. Let's talk about that too. We talked about this. Pat Shurmur and Rich Scangarello. I mean, it's funny that people were shitting on Locke, but they said it's going to be a 3-year project. That's what they were saying when we drafted him. And I was a big fan of Drew Lock coming out in that draft. I said, if you put him in the right system with that West Coast bootleg 20, a lot of crossing routes in the middle, have him just, those easy reads that, Kyle Shanahan runs in San Francisco, Matt LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers. I said, if you keep him like that and you put a solid foundation around him, he can be a very good bridge quarterback for your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allens, your Justin Herberts, the guys that are top quarterbacks in this league that are surrounded by great organizations. I said, if you do that, Noah Fant can fit the system perfectly. But what did Pat Shurmur do? What did Elway do? Pulled the rug right under there and said, I see Kansas City. I want to go get a poor man's version of that in Pat Shurmur when we didn't have the player personnel at all to run that system.
Yeah, Shurmur has ruined a lot of players. Like
those Elway.
We talked about some guys in the offensive line that has been ruined because of Shurmur.
And Elway.
Yeah, Elway too.
Reisner. I'm hearing talks that they want to trade Quinton Miners.
What?
Yep.
Oh my! Yep. If they did that,
Graham Glasgow. I told you, Graham Glasgow was a John Elway player. And also, I also want to speak on this. You remember when they restructured his contract? There was no head coach at the time. Who do you think restructured that contract? As a coach, you should at least have some say like, hey, I don't think Graham Glasgow cuts the mustard. Can we try and trade him? GM working hand in hand, but they restructured that guy's contract before Nathaniel Hackett arrived. That's not a stable organization. And when you continue to convince us that we're going to the Super Bowl each and every fucking year, you're not stable. You're not a stable organization.
Nope. Yeah, hopefully Walton takes care of this, man. Like, he better, start cleaning house with these, get rid of Elway. Well, what's he doing there? What's he doing for this organization? Nothing.
I've been clamoring for Adam Peters. If Walton does what I hope he does, you need to get rid of everybody. I'm talking about scouts, Peyton. You need to start over. You need to have a vision on what you need to do offensively and defensively and special teams. No one wants to talk about how depth makes special teams very important. I think special teams is important. No one wants to talk about that at all. I've been saying it for many, many years. Special teams is the core of your team. It is basically the depth stuff on your team. So when you don't draft well, when you don't sign free agents that can make a difference, your special teams is going to suck. And we've seen that under the Elway regime. It's continued under George Payton too, because Elway is here, George Payton's here, and Payton's taking orders from Elway. But I've been claiming for a guy named Adam Peters, and I encourage every Bronco fan to go look this guy up. This guy was an absolute essential piece to getting guys like Danny Trevathan, drafting Vaughn, getting Malik Jackson. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about when you get a guy like Adam Peters in here, who's an unbelievable scout, could be an unbelievable GM. The Niners keep giving him pay raises each and every year because he is that essential to that organization.
And look at the Niners. Like, they've been really, really successful.
They've been drafting well. They've been getting good free agents. I mean, look at that defensive line. Good Lord.
And we got to play them this year.
Yep. That's how it goes.
But Mile High Huddle said, "Oh, that's an easy win."
Who'd they say was an easy win?
Remember the Colts? They said in the Niners.
They even said the Seahawks are going to be an easy win. I think that's going to be a closer game than people think it's going to be. I think that's going to be a lot closer game than people realize. And they're going to be like, "Oh no, it's just one game." And then once we lose to the Raiders, because you remember people were saying that we were going to beat the Raiders. They're easy, and they beat us twice last year in the playoffs. They got better. Like, everybody in our division got better except for the Broncos.
Yep.
That's it for me. That's all I got to say.
And it's been freaking 7 years of this shit. Nothing's changed.
Nothing will change until Elway's gone.
Yeah, it's a mess.
But yeah, that's all I got. So
we can end this right now if you want.
Yeah.
32 minutes. All right, that's good.
All right, man. I will talk to you later.
All right, man. See you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Bye.